Yeah, Veritas, an apology.
Start off with a, hey guys.
Dude, the thumbnail is
You
literally
saw the
just
title.
you-centered, depressed face. Yes, no text, no nothing. Maybe sorry, comma. You know what I mean? And then it's Veritas, an apology.
Guys,
Oh my God.
Before I get into this, I need to say, Raid Shadow Legend.
Oh my. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the podcast, the show dedicated to talking about all the Pogcast things in life, like music, content creation, and video games. I'm one of your co-hosts, JesseKazam, an Escape from Tarkov YouTuber and content creator.
And I'm Veritas.
I didn't look at you for a second.
I was really hoping that I would. I got nothing. I'm just a dude who plays games badly. How's it going?
It's going good, man. It's going good. It's been busy. Been a whole lot of Tarkoving, but it's been fun.
You still been doing the subathon, or is that?
Yeah. So tomorrow we'll be doing our fourth 24-hour stream in the month of August, and probably most likely the last one. But it's been fun.
God damn.
I'd only ever done one 24-hour stream ever, and it was the last drops event. And
Same.
Now, yeah, we've done one every week for the past 4 weeks now, and it's so weird, but they're like so much fun. They're like really fun, and then they're really not fun, and then they're really fun again, and then you're done, and you're like, I'm never doing that again. And then the next day, I'm like, I'm excited for this weekend. It's such an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah,
but they've been a blast. It's been fun.
that's how Tarkov is like, just in general. Like,
Yeah,
today,
100%.
Today I literally, it was like, you forget how shitty the day before was. So you get up,
Yep.
you're like all energized, like a coffee in me, get some juju in me, do a little bit of editing, and then I start the stream. Labs run. I'm like, all right, it's gonna be good. And then, it wasn't even a cheater. I think it was just Tarkov being Tarkov.
Yeah.
A dude rolls up on me, and I have an SKS with BP. Pop, 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 center mass, and he goes, oh, pop, and I'm dead.
Yep.
I hit him 10 hits on the fucking screen. 10 hits.
Yep.
Apparently none of them could kill him with 7.62 BP.
Dude,
Must have been his arms.
it's
eating it
so
all.
funny because like there's so many emotional states of Tarkov. There's like the 4 quadrants. It's like when you want to play Tarkov and are having fun, when you don't want to be playing Tarkov and Tarkov is screwing you, and then these weird alternate dimensions where like you so want to be playing the game and the game just at every stop does not let you have fun. Like you're feeling good, you've got a good attitude, and every raid it's decent, it's something. And then there's the days where you're like looking for something to be pissed about on Tarkov, but you're actually like making a ton of money and killing everybody. It's like all 4 stages exist. It's so weird.
Yeah, no, I was like literally like 4 minutes into my stream, I went from being like so hyped. I'm like, I'm just gonna do fucking labs runs all day because I got a green key card. I'm like, I'm just gonna do labs runs all day. Like maybe hopefully I'll get some dead servers and I can just like farm. Which didn't end up being the case for most of them. I did get a few dead ones, but 4 fucking minutes in the first immersion stream, and it's like, well, my immersion's broken.
Yep.
I shoot a guy 10
I
times.
hate this. Where'd you get the green card?
Immigration department.
Okay.
But
I said green card, and I was like, I should have said green key card because I know you're gonna.
So I was farming labs to try to get the last stem I needed for samples.
Oh yeah.
I believe the pronunciation is ominous.
Yep.
So
correct.
I had been trying to find it for like fucking months now. I ended up finding 2 in one raid, and then ran over to outside the manager's office, the desk.
Oh.
And it was like, oh, I honestly I thought an intel spawned there, and that was it. I didn't know. I was like,
I didn't know
shit.
a green card spawned there either.
Yeah.
Holy
so
cow.
green key card. So I picked it up, made it out, which was really nice. And then for like 2 days, I sort of sat on it trying to figure out what I wanted to do, because you see, if you search for the green card, it's kind of like the red card, where the fees to list it
Yep.
are like 90% of the fucking price
Cost,
that you
yeah.
listed for. So, you could list it for 10 million and the fee would be like 8.5 million or something. Like it's ridiculous.
Yep.
So don't quote me on those numbers. I didn't even actually try. But that's just why you never see them. You have to do exclude bartering options. You have to get rid of that filter. And then you'll see there's a bunch of trades for the green key card. The vast majority of those trades, caveat emptor, everybody, are scam trades.
Yeah.
They're people that are trying to make you think like they've got 35 GPUs.
Yep.
But they have 35 sales up.
35 listings.
One GPU. You'll see that it's like it'll say pack of 8 or pack of 32 or whatever if it's all together. So you realize you're giving up a key card for one GPU, which you're just getting fucking bent over.
Yep. That got me a few wipes ago or something. I found like an armband and I was like, it was something believable. It was like 12 GPUs for like Twitch Rivals armband. I was like, this makes sense. And I only got one. And I was like, and I knew immediately. I was like, damn it.
Yeah. So there's a lot of them there. I could have gotten, I think either a thick weapon case or like an ultra med key. Basically, like it looks like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mil in that range is kind of like what you'd be looking at for trades. I just decided, I'm like, you know what? I like green is my favorite room in labs.
Yeah, 100%.
The loot. So I'm like, I'm just gonna fucking go there. Well, I looted it 4 times today, and I think I maybe found 6 stims total.
Yeah.
Like six 20,000 ruble stims in 4 runs.
Yeah.
I couldn't even fill up my fucking gamma.
Yeah. It feels like we're at a place now, because I don't even inherently disagree with the loot in those rooms being nerfed a little bit. I think what needs to happen now is the rarity of those keys needs to come down a bit, because I like that we're like trying to be a little bit more barter friendly on the flea market, but all the barters are scams and all the keys are super rare, and then people spend a bunch of money on it and go in and get nothing. It's like if those keys were a little bit more accessible, then it might push a few more normal people to go labs a little bit more often, and it feels more like other keys. Like a lot of the shoreline rooms, you can't make a bajillion rubles like you used to be able to, but it's still worth hitting if you have the key. But the fact that the keys are still so rare, and then for all that money that you spent on the key, you get 4 stims. It feels like it's disproportionate. It used to just be OP. The key was expensive, but if you got the key and you ran it 10 times, you'd make your money back, and then you're just printing money. It's not OP anymore, but the key's just as rare, which makes them absolutely atrocious value propositions.
Yeah, I mean, so there's a lot of different things, right? Because we kind of talked about this the last few episodes about how there's so many moving targets with like getting the loot economy right and the value of things right. So they nerfed labs. I'm assuming. I mean, I can't say why. It's possible they were like trying to limit the people who were doing like RMT or the cheaters who were just farming it. So then they like nerfed it. So then all of a sudden now the cheaters are going interchange because that's where all the good shit is.
100%.
Or at least that's what I hear. I haven't played interchange in a month because last time I played interchange, it seemed like everybody was such a god gamer.
Yeah.
And
it's definitely where all the sweats are going. I don't know about cheaters. I maybe had a few sus encounters. I'm playing a lot of interchange actually, but it's definitely where the sweats are going.
Yeah, so there's that. But then there's the key card price has gone up, the loot has gone down. The rarity of the key cards hasn't gone up.
Yeah.
But like it's just kind of like you can't really farm massive amounts of money.
Correct. Yeah.
Even if you get an empty labs raid, you can go to every single room. I don't have red, but I can go to like manager's office, green, black, and then like all the other rooms, and I'll just end up with like 300k in stims, and then maybe I can kill a few raiders.
Yeah.
But most of them have shotguns and no armor.
Yeah.
So it's, I don't know, it hasn't been super, super profitable.
For sure.
But But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, labs.
We'll have to see what they do with pricing and quantity and everything.
It's become a really weird. It's become a really weird place. You know what I mean? It's like if you've been playing Tarkov for a really long time, you see the remnants of what Labs once was. And at one point, it was like the most exciting thing to happen to Tarkov. A completely new environment, a completely new enemy type, a lot of completely new items were introduced. Like pre-Labs, we didn't have LED X's, we didn't have defibs. You know what I mean? We didn't have color key cards pre-Labs. There are no player scavs, so it represented this completely new piece of Tarkov. And it was free, and it was fun, and it was brutal, and it was very much so like I wish I had it recorded still. My first Labs raid, I literally crawled. I mean, I crouch walked the entire way through. It was very much so that Dan Giesling clip. I'm crawling through that. My very first Labs raid was the first time in Escape from Tarkov I had ever come across a Gen 4 armor. I killed 2 raiders. At this point, this was Christmas 2018. There were no guides. There was no wiki. It took me 15 minutes. I sussed out where sewer was and extracted there with a Gen 4.
Wait, no guides and no wiki. You're
no guides and no wiki for Labs because it was the day it came out. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Yeah.
3 days later, Pestily already had 17.
Correct.
Okay.
But because it was the day of, I couldn't get the information anywhere. I had the Gen 4 and I was like, I don't know where to extract. And I couldn't look it up. I sussed out where sewers was. I extracted and I literally just sat at my computer and it was the most tense moment ever. And you went... So what I'm saying is like Labs is a really interesting place now because you see like the remnants of that. Like I go back and once in a while I'm like, dude, this used to be my stomping grounds. But then everybody was making, absolute insane amounts of money. The Raider AI was broken. They were super easy to farm. The game blew up shortly after that and therefore RMT blew up. And now it's in this weird spot because it's like, it's really expensive and really risky to go. And so you really only find Labs mains there. A lot of the loot has been nerfed. There are no quests there. So every other map, you could run into a Chad. You could...
There's one, at least one. The white card with the blue marking.
Oh, yeah. There are no required quests there. And like, you know what I mean? And even that, like, I've never done that quest because as soon as I'm done with questing for... So, but what I mean is like on every other map, you could find somebody doing delivery from the past or killing 15 scavs on woods. It's like, it's this weird, like even Labs mains debate on if Labs is even profitable or worth going to. And if you aren't a Labs main, it's one of those things where it's like, you're not, like, I haven't died to a cheater on Labs in a really long time. I'm just getting outclassed by Labs mains. You know what I mean? There are no middle tier guys that this is their 7th Labs raid ever that I run into that I can outclass. So it's like, it's just like become this weird spot. And I think you're right, definitely on like so much of it is placeholder. Like we know that you're going to have to access Labs through other maps. So they're not going to completely balance the map as a solo map when it won't be that way. We know the loot economy is going to change. So they maybe don't want to completely balance the loot economy of Labs. So I get that. But because of that, because we're not at the finish line yet, and because Labs was at one point broken, it's just this weird place now where it's like you just go and if you're lucky, you get a dead raid and you can farm raiders. And if you're unlucky, you get 7 risky, slick Lab sweats, and I can't compete with them. I can't. It's weird. Yeah. It's super weird.
I still do come across a decent number, although it seems much less. A decent number of let's just say players that are of questionable information.
Yeah. It'd be cool if they added like something unique to Labs to entice. I'm literally coming up with this as I'm speaking, so please don't hold me to this. What if they put, what if there was an item that was on Labs that you could like, the only thing you could do with it was like exchange it to a trader for like experience, not money. So it's not very like RMTable, but it's like, that's just like a super rough idea. But the concept of like, give players a reason to go to Labs. If they're just questing and vibing and doing their thing, they never come across a reason to go to Labs except for the guide. You know what I mean? But we don't want that reason to be money because what we know is that then RMT takes over and the game explodes. So, you know what I mean? Yeah. What if you could turn in folders of intelligence to proper for 23,000 experience. And
the thing is,
you know what I mean?
that would be
Like,
great for new players, but the problem is that every Labs main who already gets 30K
yeah,
experience would also get the beginning 100K experience a raid in 10 minutes.
yes, but I don't care, right? That doesn't affect me
I
like
think BSG
RMT does.
might
Yeah, true. Yeah,
care.
for sure. You're right. But
because they want to slow people down.
Yeah, as we'll talk about in a little bit. You're totally right. But you know what I mean? At least that would...
You're onto something with that idea.
Yeah, something that entices not new players. I'm talking about literally the 99% and below. You know what I mean? Because it seems like on average, who you run into is the 1%. So I'm not even saying entice new players to go to labs. I'm saying entice levels 1 to 99%. How do we get those guys to want to go labs casually? Every once in a while, they have a reason to want to go there. And if it has anything to do with money, it's completely broken in 2 days via cheats and RMT. So if it wasn't money and it was something that if I got was valuable to me, but if you got, it didn't hurt me, it doesn't like at the end of the day, you're totally right.
I'll tell you what that is.
You're totally right that Nikita wants to slow people down, but the reality is it doesn't really hurt me if you're level 71, because at level 42 you have access to everything anyway. Technically at level 20 you have access to anything anyway. So 20 to 72, it doesn't make a difference if you're good. You know what I mean? So
just like the civilian flea market, make it, and just like Bitcoin, make it so that labs key cards it's a black market. You can't trade them. You can't. The traders won't buy them. So you have a key card that is access to labs that is worthless to you unless you use it.
Dude, that'd be cool.
Then
that would be really cool.
Then so many more people would be playing labs, and it would feel much more balanced.
Yes, because
it wouldn't feel like it's just either cheaters or gods, and there's no way to tell the fucking difference.
That's really what we need. I actually, you know what? Cursory, obviously, you spoke that into existence 7 seconds ago. So I haven't, but really quickly, I actually prefer that over making labs free again, which I had been previously kind of advocating for, because it's like, once again, we keep rubber banding back and forth. Like, labs was free, it was fun. Oh no, RMT, let's swing the hammer the other way. Let's nerf raiders. Let's make the labs keycards expensive. Like, it was the same thing they did with the Val. It was like, Val's OP, let's nerf everything. Its availability, its price, its recoil, its ammo, its magazines.
So
we nerfed it all. So they did the same thing with labs. It was like, oh no, labs is OP, and they went down the gamut. And so with raiders being nerfed, with colored keycard rooms being nerfed, with all that stuff being nerfed, I had been kind of like, yo, can we just make it free again? But that I actually like better, because it goes back to the conversation we had where like supporting lore, supporting other gameplay mechanics, that encourages you to go loot. When you loot and you find something, that means you want to use it because it's the perfect thing to be black market in the lore. The trader's like, I don't want to touch that. Like, we're not doing Terror Group. All that stuff has happened. Like, it's the perfect lore item. And then, yeah, it's like you can accumulate these. And that's what we need. We need to push the other 1 to 98% of the players in there casually and without having to risk anything other than like their kit, like normal. You know what I mean? And labs cards aren't like abundant. I don't find them all the time, but it's like I find them the perfect amount to be like, ooh, maybe I can. The vibe we were talking about last week. I got this slick the other day, and I've been figuring out when I want to use it. I got this labs card. This is kind of a free good kit. Maybe I'll check out labs. It's not going to cost me anything. Oh, I like that idea a lot, actually. I like that idea a lot.
Veritas for president.
Veritas for
Tarkov. 2028.
That would be a great event too, by the way. For 4 days, the traders don't touch. Yeah, no, for 3 or 4 days they make an event, or a week. They don't. Labs cards aren't sellable. They're like, there's some lore thing where they're like, yo, something's going down in Terror Group where we do not want to be a part of that until things cool off. You know what I mean? You let everything on the flea get bought out and all new cards are done. Maybe you can bump the spawn rate by 5 or 10% just to keep people in there. Like that's a perfect event.
Maybe when I'm done with my history video, I can. There's only so many things I can like focus on at a time.
Oh, for sure.
And right now I'm like balls deep in this, but I would love to try to prepare something to give to Nikita for a couple of events, and I think that civilian flea and a few other things would be pretty good. But speaking of Nikita, and we were speaking before of wanting to
Slow down.
What's the word? Is it stultify? Is that a word? Stultify. Tending to stifle enthusiasm, initiative, or freedom of action. I guess you could say it's stultify.
That's a Scrabble
progression.
word right there.
Scrabble. You need QAID, QATAR, TRANQ. There's a bunch of Q words that are illegal in like the Scrabble dictionary that don't involve you. There's like Knat, Trank, Cade, Guitar, a few other things that, yeah. Anyway,
anyways,
total that was thanks for taking part in Scrabble Facts 2001.
Scrabble Facts with the podcast.
Fucking A. Okay, what was I talking about?
Squabbling, stifling. I don't remember the word.
Squalifying the progression. So a lot of people have been asking me about the quote-unquote bug around insurance. Now, most of us have noticed how fucking nutty insurances cost lately, and because of the ambiguity of like you don't really know what the value you're getting is. It's you're getting the chance to maybe get back something in some condition, maybe in the future, if you die or drop it.
Yeah, and nobody takes it.
So it's like, what is that thing worth that I get? And how much is it worth paying? Because it's so ambiguous, nobody really knows the value. So, it can be really hard when you go to like let me just look like SB5. So like the rat rig. If I go to insure it with Prapor, it's 20,000 rubles. If you were gonna buy it, it's 40,000. Or sorry, 49,000.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're talking 40% of the price.
Mm-hmm. And with something like that doesn't repair very well, you know what I mean? If it gets zeroed and you die, you spend 40% of the price to insure it, you get it back, you have to spend probably 50% of its original price to repair it to a not that great durability.
Yep. So like, I mean, just looking at like a Killa armor, if I grab like a 40 out of 40 Killa armor, I don't even know what it starts with. I just know like it's 70-80% or whatever. It's not terrible, but I would still wear it, right? If I wanted to go insure that right now, it'd be 66,000 rubles.
Yep.
If I go on the flea market and go to buy one that's 40 out of 40, it would cost me, well, 180K.
Slick kills are 180K? That's wild.
Yeah, they're 130 is the cheapest, and that's zeroed out. I don't know how much it would cost to repair it, but I mean, still, you're talking, you're still talking about 50% to insure.
Mm-hmm.
So it used to be
Slick?
5%.
Yeah. Slicks cost 97K. An 80 out of 80 slick costs 97K alone to insure.
Holy fuck, yeah. So everybody was thinking.
I was going Chad run with a homie. I had an Alton on. I just clicked Alton, Slick, and M4, and it was 257,000, just those three. So I clicked everything and was like, nope.
Yeah, I mean, I've been insuring everything all the time, just because it's been what I've been doing for fucking years now. But I think now, knowing what I know, I'm gonna probably try not insuring anything and see how that goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry, I've been beating around the bush for fucking way too long here. We all thought it was a bug, especially given how if you go to insure with Prapor, let's say you have Prapor loyalty level 3. Let's say you're about to insure and you're like, oh shit, I have a quest I got to turn in. You go turn in a quest. Oh, all of a sudden you just ranked Prapor up, to max loyalty. The insurance would go up.
And traditionally, it would have gone down a little bit, right? Like, as I understood it, he gave you discounts as it went, as you.
Honestly, I do not remember. If I'm being honest, I do not remember if the price went down.
I thought so, but yeah, I don't know.
But
it turns out.
But now it's the price goes up, the higher your loyalty rank is. And I know it's with prep, or I don't know if it's just generic.
Yeah.
Like interestingly enough, if I insure the rat rig with therapists, it's only 25K instead of 20K, which seems to be like much closer than it used to be. So
much closer.
Maybe it's just prep. Like she was always like twice as much.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sure. I guess I'll have to do a little bit of testing. But I asked Nikita if he was aware bug with the loyalty increasing, making the price of insurance increase, and he said it's not a bug, it's intended.
Sick.
And I said, oh,
why?
okay. I said with my teeth clenched together in a smile, oh, okay, that makes perfect sense. Why? Can you tell me? And he basically said that just want to make it harder, like make the progression when you get later level, like slow it down, make it a little bit harder. So I can, respect that. I feel like there's probably a million other ways to do it that.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, it's funny because it's literally the exact opposite moment. In the past 3 weeks, Veritas, you have had two moments. You've had, okay, so you know how there's this very intended game feature? We all know that. Have you heard about this bug? And Nikita's like, no, wait, I've never heard of that before. That's a bug. And you're like, it's been in the game since 2017. He's like, I've never heard about that before. Cut to 3 weeks later, and you're like, you guys are aware of this big giant bug that's plaguing everybody, right? And he's like, no, it's a bug. Sick.
Yeah. See, like,
yeah.
I mean, this goes along with everything that I've ever said about like realism versus immersion versus whatever.
Yeah.
Like the way that the way that these things are implemented, I'm perfectly fine if they say we want to slow down progression and we want to make it more expensive. The more, like, I'm okay with that. It's just go about it in a way that makes sense.
Yes.
Because imagine if there was something like the higher level you were, the like less money you'd get from traders or whatever. Like it would disincentivize you from leveling up, because it's like, oh, I can press this return quest button, but now I want to make sure that as soon as I get gear, I insure it, even if I'm not going to use it for a month, because a month from now I might have higher trader rep.
Yeah.
And so it's just like this weird thing that makes it doesn't make sense. And from a gameplay perspective, doesn't make sense. From a lore perspective, doesn't make sense. So you just end up with weird behaviors that you don't intend, and like weird metas for people to get around it. I mean, honestly, the Chads aren't going to insure anymore.
Yeah.
And all it does is it hurts people that aren't paying attention, that don't know about it.
Yeah.
Or people like me who just fucking insure all the time, and people ask me all day long why I have no money.
It feels like this is exactly one of those things where it hurts every single person in the game except the desired group of people. Like, you know what I mean? Like
every other fix in history.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like if you've got, you know what I mean? I don't want to call it in names because it's not any of these streamers' faults. They're just gods at the game. You know what I mean? But if you've got 100 million rubles, increasing the price of insurance is like a scratch. It's like money is so not even close to hard for those people to farm. So yeah, they'll just stop insuring. They still have,
or they go labs, and there's no insurance anyway.
87% survival rates, so it doesn't matter to them a whole lot. And when they die, they're just gonna buy a kit. It's not that big of a deal. But to everybody else, to the guy who got to level 22 last wipe and is like pushing for 40 this wipe, you know what I mean? Who's got a 29% survival rate? It's like, yo, congratulations, you hit level 4 proper. Now, when you die, which is most of the time, it's triple, the price to insure the gear, and you're probably not going to get any of it back. And
you're not going to get it back. You have
like,
to buy the thing.
Oh
full
man,
price.
like it feels like it hurts everybody else. You know what I mean? Like,
dude, I mean that is exactly the criticism I've levied,
and it doesn't slow down the chance.
No, it's exactly the same criticism I've levied against every of the major changes that they've made for the last 3 or 4 years, where the changes don't fix the problem. They just inconvenience everybody else, and then the people who are trying to get around the thing by doing the problem just have a different way of getting around it.
Yeah.
Because it's not smart game design. Right? Like,
Yes.
I in 2 seconds off the top of my head, just based off of what you mentioned, I came up with an idea that made sense in terms of the lore and didn't hurt anybody. And it promoted a gameplay without promoting RMT and without like those are the ideas that you want. You don't want something that doesn't make sense lore wise that you think is just a band-aid on a problem that, you know, isn't the problem, when really, like, if they wanted to do that, what they should have done is I mean, you need to step back and maybe we can brainstorm for a minute and think, like, you want to slow down the progression and make it harder as you level up. How could you do that? So first of all, there's post-raid healing. That's and I don't know if any of these things are good. I'm just talking about the different things you could, like, hit, right?
Yeah.
There's like dog tags, there's selling gear, there's post-raid healing, there's quest rewards, there's repairs. I mean, like, as you level up, I'd want repairs to go down. I'd want all the healing, all the trader stuff should go down if you fucking level them up. Like, if you're leveling up charisma and leveling up, you know, the traders, the prices of all their things
would go down.
Should go down. So I mean, really, what you need to do, you need to just think of a way to make it so that the chads are. I mean, what's the problem? Right?
Exactly.
You need to step back and say, what's the problem, and then how do we address the problem? You don't say, we need to make it more expensive for people to progress. So as they progress, we make it more expensive. It's like, no. That's not
exactly.
You're looking at it the wrong way.
You're exactly right. It's like, here's the problem, but instead of trying to fix that, we're going to try and fix this other thing, and we're going to botch how we tried to fix this other thing, and we just end up so far away. Because, like, even when you think about it, like, and this could totally be like a translation thing, like, that we are not here to, like, hold Nikita to every single word he says or breath he takes. But
yes, we are.
If I was across from him, I'd be like, what does progression have to do with money and insurance? I can't buy experience. I can't buy my way to 71. So if you want to slow my progression, what does insurance price have to do with that? Nothing. If
you pay more for insurance, then you're going to have less money, and that's going to slow you down.
Yeah.
That's the logic. It's bad logic.
It's bad logic. It's and then the thing is, it's like, here's my, once again, not issue, not gripe, but my question is that it feels like they're kind of like talking out of both sides of their mouth here, where they hit us with the, like, you and me say it all the time, and it's a great defense of a lot of the things that are happening in this game. Big things are coming that will fundamentally change how the game is played. So it is actually a bad use of time to try and, like, perfect a system that has a doomsday, right? That has, like, an end to it. But then why do this? You know what I mean? It's like, if you want to slow progression, like, we all know the more meaningful way to slow progression is, like, you know, dynamic loot and make raids more unpredictable. Doing all these, like, when you asked him, like, what are the cornerstone features that are going to fundamentally shift how the game is played? He was like, VoIP, inertia, dynamic economy, open world. He was doing all this stuff. Like, that's the stuff that's going to make it harder and the game more unpredictable, and therefore a lot harder to just, like, repeat and grind XP. So which is it? Like, why? I guess I just don't understand these changes. Like, why? Once again, it does not hurt me if somebody is level 22 or 71. And we see that issue a lot in the Tarkov community, where if I die to a guy with a slick Alton, it's like, freaking Chads, and we don't know if that was a level 23 that KS23'd a guy with a slick Alton and took it into his raid for the first time. You know what I mean? We associate gear with progression, and that's just because of flea market. That's just not how it is. So it doesn't matter if somebody's 22 or 71. So why are we trying to slow down progression right now?
Let me look real quick. Let me pull up, because we've been focusing on the slowing down progression, and I don't remember exactly what he said. Okay, so 4 a.m. Okay, so to be fair, he didn't say slow progression.
Okay.
He said increase of difficulty with leveling,
Okay.
which is equally as nonsensical.
Yeah,
because
it is different,
more money
but it is equally
not,
nonsensical.
Yeah, it's not.
You would have to nerf XP.
If you wanted increase, well, not necessarily, because it doesn't make it more difficult. It just makes it more annoying. If you wanted to objectively make it more difficult, then the AI would scale to your level in terms of difficulty, like MMOs do, or there would be skill-based matchmaking or something like those. I don't. The first one I actually don't think is the worst idea ever. The second thing I do, but like, you know, you don't want to have just lobbies that are just all, you know, level whatever. You want them all mixed, but I actually kind of like the idea of the AI dynamically.
That would be so toxic. if they start where they are now and they scaled up, that would be so.
No,
dark.
I mean, right now should be end game because they're so fucking broken.
Yeah, I just like.
Nobody wants skill-based matchmaking, chat. Everybody be quiet. That's literally a thing that'll never happen.
Yeah.
We
literally just said it was a bad idea.
I was giving it as a for instance, but it'll never happen. It's never going to happen. Don't worry. So shut up.
I guess I don't know. I don't want to get like frustrated or toxic or anything. It just seems like, once again, I can't get, I'm getting whiplash. You know what I mean? It's like, we hate that there are high-level players, so we're going to make Kappa 71. And then a month later, it's like, you know what? How about 40 different quests that I'll give you a bajillion XP? Okay, what the hell do you want? You know what I mean? Like, which one? And then it's like this. It's like, well, we're going to increase the price of insurance because somehow that's going to slow leveling. And I just like...
No, sorry, increase difficulty.
Yeah, increase difficult level. And I just like... and I'm just like, why? Like... At level 20, if you know how to make money, the game is over. You have access to everything. The meta right now is to get to level 20, never do another task, grind money, and keep proper at level 1. That's the new meta. You can get to 71 with proper at level 1. So I just like
that assumes
there are certain things
that you value insurance prices being low over the items, which I don't think anybody honestly would.
You're right. But what I'm saying is that, like, you know, I just don't understand, like, if you have 1,000 hours to play this game, you're just gonna have more than me. You're gonna have more experience. You're gonna have more money. You're gonna have more items. You're gonna have more like experience in the game, and that's just how it is. And it's just like, I just don't. This is just one of the things where I'm just like, why is this an issue? Who is hurt by somebody being level 71? You know what I mean? Like, Landmark doesn't suddenly suck when a wipe hits and he's level 3 again. His level has nothing to do with his skill. And at level 20, you have access to all items in the game. So increased difficulty of leveling. I would just ask the question, why? You know what I mean? Like,
maybe it's just it's a money sink. They need another money sink.
Especially why to a mechanic that hurts everybody. You know what I mean? Like, there are certain issues. There are certain things where you like want a solution to either benefit or hurt like every single player of the game.
Yeah.
And those stem from problems that affect every single player in the game. But like John grinding for 3 months and getting to level 71 doesn't affect any players in the game. And then affecting a change that affects every player to the game, him least of all, just seems questionable. You know what I mean? I'm just like,
I can see.
Sure, okay.
I could see looking at it from this perspective. Now, it would take having information that I don't have that I'm sure BSG could collect if they really wanted to. But if you could draw, you know, the graph where it was like the price of the things you're insuring and then like the value of things you get back, like where that crosses.
Yeah.
I would want it so that, you know, new players, it would cost almost nothing to insure their shit. And then that would be the minimum, would be like, you know, 1% of the cost of the thing to insure, because it's a chance you'll get it back. It's just a chance you'll get something nice and free and, you know, whatever, if you're lucky. And anyway, you're gonna have trash stuff anyway. So who cares if you get your pack back 17 fucking times?
Yeah.
Because at least you just always have a P.A.K.A. You're not going to be going in as like a hatchling. So you might as well buy the thing once and then insure it, whatever. But then the curve should go up and increase to the point where, on average, you would break even.
Yeah.
That should be the maximum. So then like end game, it's almost like gambling, like a kind of a coin flip where you know, like coin flip is 50-50, right? And you're always kind of breaking even, but there's still that one period of time where you're like, all right, there's going to be one more coin flip today. You want to walk away a winner. So maybe when you have like the good shit, you might insure it, hoping that you'll get it back. But most of the time, you're not going to insure anything because it's a break even.
I mean, I like that as a lot better. Basically, like the price of insurance is somehow linked to its intrinsic value, and like the much more valuable stuff is more expensive to like that. I mean, that is how it is now, where like a slick was always more expensive to insure than a rat rig. But if we bumped that curve a little bit so that at the high end, it is more of like a break even, it is more of like a woof. But at the low end, it was kind of like it was because now we're talking about a solution that scales. We're talking about a solution that, everybody, whether you like it or not, at least, lower tier players aren't quite as affected by it because they won't have enough money. Like, you know what I mean? And that makes more sense because those items are much more valuable. You know what I mean? So bumping that curve up a little bit. I think that's cool. I'm down with that idea.
Yeah. I mean,
and once again, it
makes more sense.
I'm coming off really strong. At the end of the day, it's interesting. Like my problem is the justification, not the thing. Like if they want to make insurance 5 times more expensive, I'll just adapt to not insuring, or I'll adapt. Like what I've been doing right now is insuring just like helmet, gun, armor. And I think I'm going to flip it. I think I would net more profit insuring things like contacts and bags because they're less likely to be. So the money I go into insurance ends up coming back out, you know what I mean, more often. Like I'll adapt. Like I'm not trying to be complainy face where it's like, oh, I'm spending all my money. It's what gets me is that like when the swing comes through, if it's like, yeah, well, it's just to do this. And I'm like, whoa. It's not, you're not doing that at all. That's when I get like heated. But it's like at the end of the day, they can do whatever they want. Like I don't care. I still have money. It's fine. It's just I just don't get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm not entitled to get it.
Final thoughts, and then we can move on. I think it would make more sense that. I mean, you could even argue. You know how you have your survivor class?
Yeah.
You know, it's like neutralizer. I'm always neutralizer, and I don't know what the other ones are. But I mean, like, in my opinion, you would almost think that it would increase, like, I don't know what stat you'd base it on. Maybe it would be a combination of like survival rate and kill death and whatever. But like, the more likely you are to engage in fights, even if you win them, the more expensive it is because the Chad is going to be PvPing. So maybe even if he has an 80% survival rate and even if he has a 20 KD, he's still way more risky because it's the equivalent of like a teenager is more likely to crash their car. You could say, okay, well, if you're just going to crawl around level 2 and you're scared, you're less likely, even though technically you're more likely to die, you know, like, you're not actively engaging in combat. So, you know, I mean, you could look at it that way if they really wanted to do that. The thing is that if you based it on survival rate, you'd have the opposite.
Yeah,
you'd
survival rate, would be the opposite. A lot of the newer low-level players with 12% survival rates they're technically way more of a liability. But that's why it'd be interesting. Like, I feel like there's something to explore there with like the class, like classifications. Like if they would have to rework that to include some of these stats to like, and then make that knowledge public facing. But like, that would be it'd be a cool, like almost RPG element where the more you do a certain type of play style, you're kind of classified that way. And then this happens and it would just be interesting.
So, and then the other bit is that even if we accepted the premise and we accepted the solution to their premise, I still think that the amounts don't matter. I mean, sorry. Let me step back. That was my brain going without my mouth going without my brain. The amounts don't make sense. If anything, I thought insurance was pretty expensive as it was for the amount of shit that I would get back. So like where it used to be should have been like what it was for the high tier players, and then it would get cheaper for everybody else.
Yeah.
So that would mean that for, you know, the veterans who have been playing for 4 or 5 years, nothing would change for us. But for the new players, they would see a nice bump in cash flow from having a better, you know, like at a certain point, there are those two lines, and when the lines cross, it no longer makes sense to insure once you get past a certain price. So why even have like the feature if it's, I mean, because effectively what you're doing is you're saying, unless you make a fucking Excel spreadsheet and bar graph this out, you will not know that this is a scam and it's a bad purchase. And it's not worth it because it's too complicated for anybody to actually calculate. So I'm just going to charge you money. Like that's to me is a bad game design. It's lazy and it's just not a good, smart, clever way of addressing a quote unquote issue.
Yeah. And so that's where we're at. Fundamentally, at the end of the day, it's good to know that it's not a bug because that's definitely the information that's going around. And that was the assessment based on previous experience in the game, current experience in the game. This was never listed in any patch notes. There wasn't a tweet about it. So we were kind of left to assume it was a bug. It's like, oh, it used to operate this way. It operates this way. And this is pretty detrimental, but it's not a bug. It's here for now. At the end of the day, it's not, at the end of the day, it's really just another feature that my hope is they're just putting in there once again, because they've got bigger stuff on the way. My fear is that when the big stuff that's on the way gets here, they won't be able to see the sun anymore because of the giant pile of little things they added to just be like, well, when X comes, that won't be an issue. So let's just do this for them.
We'll still have expensive insurance and run through and found and raid and all these vestigial things will still exist, and it'll make all of the great changes that they've made fucking pointless.
I.e. Labs right now. Labs is a barren wasteland, of a combat zone for RMT. It's, people RMT on freaking interchange now, and now there's no reason for anybody to really go labs. You know what I mean? It's exactly what we're saying. When you can make money on labs if you cheat so that you have a 95% survival rate and you know where all the good items are. Yeah. Then it's worth it to go labs. But for the rest of us, I was spending $600K on a card and the card with the blue marking, so that I could try to find the stem. So I was spending 600,000 rubles per raid. Not including armor, gun, ammo, meds, which is another 5. I was spending 1 million rubles a raid just to fucking find that one stim, and I was almost always dying to someone who was sketchy. So it just. Yeah. So at the end of the day, I say at the end of the day all the time. So if at the beginning of the day, if it really just comes down to exactly what I said. It's like, I don't care if these changes. If we're working towards something where they revert these changes and then implement exactly what they want to implement, if these if these changes that don't seem to appear to make sense ending up just get included in the other changes that are really big, then I'm just worried that it'll be in a weird spot.
Yeah, it's another example of there's subjective opinions and objective opinions. So. And the difference between the two, and we've talked about this before, is if you agree on either the problem or like the criteria or the measurements or whatever, like if you agree on a definition of something, well then once you get past that point, then at that point you're having an objective conversation because we agree on the starting line is there.
Yes.
So now who gets there the quickest is objectively easy to measure, right?
Yeah.
But if I say who gets to the finish line the best.
Yes.
And someone dances there and someone backflips there and someone teleports there. 3 different people have 3 different definitions of it. That's when it's like subjective.
Yes.
Because you all have 3 definitions of what the best is. So we can disagree on the things that the criteria that we should judge, or whether or not the end result is good or bad, that's subjective. But if we can agree on, okay, well, let's just say for the sake of discussion, we wanted this outcome. Even if you could agree that that outcome's good or bad, it doesn't matter.
Yep.
What if I made this change? Does it move us closer to that goal? And it's almost always like, no.
Yeah.
You know, Battle State's like, okay, cool. Like, we want everybody who plays Escape from Tarkov to have a healthier life, you know, in real life. So you need to deposit all of your vitamins from your blood into the game, and it'll give you in-game currency. And it's like, okay, well, wait a minute.
Yeah.
The goal doesn't match the thing.
The change,
you know,
yep.
it seems to be completely opposite. I should be able to pay rubles and get vitamins.
Yep.
What are these metaphors?
Dude,
like,
I don't know. What
I'm just picturing like Tarkov as a vitamin fucking Flintstone chewables, just
you turn in.
spitting it out.
Oh my
My streamer
God.
item should have been a fucking thing of vitamins, dude. Okay. Anyway.
Anyway, I definitely things get spicy, so we definitely don't have to camp out here, but we did put out to like talk a little bit about the some of the false bans that came out over the week and stuff like that. So
yeah, I don't know all of the details. All I know is that, so okay, I actually need to step back like 2 weeks. I honestly, and I always feel bad saying this because it just makes me feel shitty, because like if I hear it from somebody else, I always feel shitty, but I honestly didn't know who HyperRat was.
Oh yeah. He's cool.
I honestly like assumed, like, if anybody ever mentioned HyperRat, I thought that maybe they were talking about like Hyper Chad, or like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like it was
yeah.
like
Hyper.
not a capital H.
Yeah.
You know, it was just like an archetype. And then, you know, I mean, there's a million people
It's
that
like,
I know.
There's Chads, there's Giga Chads, there's Rats, and there's Hyper Rats.
Yeah. But I mean, there's a million people that I'm friends with in the Tarkov community that I'm not following.
Yeah.
It's like, why? Because
There's
you know,
there's so many people now.
You always talk to them on podcasts or whatever, and I've just never been to their stream, and there's so many streamers. So honestly, I just didn't know about him until a couple weeks ago when he came across my radar when I was talking about like, how the fuck am I ever going to make money? And someone's like, well, you should watch this guy, HyperRat. And I saw he had like 500 million rubles, and I was just like, holy fuck. So I was watching him, and that was the first time I had heard about it. And then a week later, the second time I ever hear about the guy, everybody's coming into my chat saying, HyperRat got banned, HyperRat got banned, HyperRat got banned. Then it was like, so the first thing that came to mind was, first of all, I don't know a ton about him. I talked to him. I actually reached out to him and asked him for some info on some like servers and some other stuff, and he was like super helpful, really nice. He seems like, I'm guessing he's like a younger dude.
Yeah.
But he just seems super nice, really down to earth.
Mm-hmm.
He even mentioned, you know, potentially coming on the podcast. Maybe we should have that soon. But you know, nothing but good things. But of course, I don't know him, never met him, so he's just a streamer that a lot of people talk about that has a shit ton of money. Yeah. So I was like, maybe he was cheating. You know, who the fuck knows? I literally have no idea. Yeah. I watched him for like 10 minutes. Yeah. So I couldn't possibly have known. So, but again, I'm like, I'm not going to comment on it because I don't know. I'm not going to vouch for someone who's, you know, like essentially who you don't know, a stranger. Yeah. So, and then, you know, he tweeted out, you know, that he was banned. And of course, you know, he had like a couple thousand viewers. So naturally that was like, you know, ended up being news. He tweeted to Battle State and they're like, oh yeah, we're looking into it. And then now before when this happened, when I was live and I like had Twitter up on my other screen, was kind of trying to follow, see what was going on. Because of course we talked about this with Tweak and everything. Like, this is always spicy. It's such a fucking spicy topic because if all of that attention and the end result was, I think BSG, not BattleEye, I think it was BSG said, essentially there was a bug. Yeah. We banned, you know, I think like 50 people. They've been unbanned.
Yeah, it was BSG.
So now a couple of things there. A year ago, in August of 2020, because when I was doing a little bit of research on this, I saw a press release from BattlEye in August of 2020 saying, hey, sorry about that glitch. We banned a bunch of people.
Yeah.
But it was a glitch. They're going to be unbanned. Like, we're sorry. It seemed like a genuine apology. And I'm like, but of course, conspiracy theorists just like fucking fire to the tinder.
Yeah.
But it's like, I remember being like, oh, is this just like a bug with like fucking in August, all of a sudden the cheats, the anti-cheat goes whack and starts banning people. But this one wasn't BattlEye. It sounded like it was Battle State.
Yeah, they said it was a back-end error that resulted in 50 people getting banned.
The question you have to ask yourself is, I mean, I hate saying this because the conspiracy theorists and the morons will hear what they want to hear and they'll take it the wrong way, but the like intellectually honest part of me needs to say, because I think it's the only reasonable thing to say, would it have gotten that much attention if one of the biggest streamers wasn't in the ban wave? I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Which it sucks because I want to, at the same time, I want to roll my eyes when people say, I got banned and I wasn't cheating, and I've never seen them before. It's like, you might have not been, but A, it's none of my business. B, there's nothing I can do. C, I don't fucking care. D, you might have been cheating. You probably were cheating. I don't know who you are, whatever. Why are you coming to talk to me about it? Yeah. There's nothing I can do. It just kind of puts me in a shitty position because it's like, what do you want me to do? Like every time any random person's first message in my chat, I then have to forward it to Nikita and completely ruin my like relationship with him.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the idea that we've now seen 3 people who I won't even say, even though I don't think they were cheating, I won't even say they weren't cheating. Let's just say for the sake of argument, we don't know. But the fact that Battle State unbanned them, it either means 2 things. They were banned rightfully, and they unbanned them to like, because they're okay with, streamers cheating, which I don't think is the case.
Yeah.
Or they falsely banned because of a glitch, and then they sorted it out. Well, that means that either the first one is stupid. I'm not even going to get into it. The second one means it's not impossible that you can be falsely banned. So, given that the folks that say that they're banned or have been banned, there's been enough talk of this that makes me think that it's likely the case that BattlEye probably won't fucking ever won't ever respond to your fucking emails. Battle State isn't going to respond to your emails. They're just, so it's like, there's nothing you can do. You can't even buy another copy of the game because, if you weren't cheating, you'd be afraid that your hardware ID would be banned. So then that account would be banned, or whatever it was that made you falsely banned would still be there. So it just really fucking sucks. And it all comes down to the fact that there's a system that is clearly not perfect, but acts as if it's infallible. And it leaves us with really shitty position where it's like, we don't ever falsely ban, but we do falsely ban by accident, but there's no appeal and nothing you can do.
Says who?
Battle State.
There's no appeal?
They say, no,
you can't. No, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying, who's saying there's no appeal? It's the same guy that says, dude, go to the comments. Dude, you can read the comments on the Twitter thread. There are people in there who say, hey, don't worry, just let it pan out. I got falsely banned last time, and they got my account back like a week and a half later.
But so
randos. So once again, it's the same thing.
The question is was that the when Tweak got banned, or was it totally random, or was it?
I don't know either.
I don't know.
No, I don't know either. I'm just saying, for the same reason, when the guy comes in the first time in your chat and says, or in a Twitter DM or a Discord DM, I got falsely banned, can you talk to Nikita? You're like, I have no idea if you were falsely banned, you know what I mean? Or if you were cheating or whatever. If all the people that go through the appeal process and get their accounts reinstated, they're not going to be the ones on Twitter saying the appeal process sucks. So it's like,
agreed.
You know, it's
agreed.
like have you ever heard the toupee fallacy?
Yeah.
You know, I've only ever seen bad toupees. Bad toupees suck. It's like, well, good toupees you don't notice. That's why they're good.
Yeah.
So it's like, and people
So
last night I clicked on your stream for 4 seconds last night, and the first message you read was, "What do you think is a viable anti-cheat option for Battlestate games?" And you went, BattleEye. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was just like, people ask me, dude, like the cheat, like, what do you think about the cheater infestation? You know, the problem, and I'm just like, I know that it cuts both ways. I know that the toupee fallacy cuts both ways. Maybe a guy that I thought wasn't cheating was, because he was cheating so good. But it's just like, I just am so not inclined to believe the internet, to believe Twitter, to believe like, oh, like I appealed and I never got my account back. Like, I actually believe that that's happened. But the narrative people want me to believe is that that's all that happens. And that,
yeah. No, I don't buy that. I don't buy that. But here's the deal, and this is just goes to the heart of kind of my point. Was it's such a fucking weird position to be in, as anyone who's skeptical but also hasn't had to deal with the bullshit.
Yeah. Because
I can imagine a world in which dealing with an appeal for BattleEye is like calling Comcast customer support.
Exactly.
And sometimes it's 5 minutes and you're done. And other times you're in a black hole cycle where you don't hear anything back.
For sure.
And so here's the thing. So the only reason why I hate the state of affairs we're in right now, which is all this questioning and confusion, is because at any point it could happen to me.
Yeah.
And the worst, I'm just trying to be like empathetic. The worst situation, my biggest fucking nightmare, what is it called? The Cassandra effect or something like that. If you've ever seen 12 Monkeys, they fucking talk about it. God damn it, I forget now. But it's essentially like if you're cursed to like destined to know the future, but nobody believes you.
Okay.
One of my biggest fears is just like I get accused of a crime, I get found guilty.
Yes.
I was innocent and nobody believes me.
For sure.
So I am worried about that, and I am in the most privileged position because if I wasn't cheating, I at least have a platform that I can stand up and scream to my hundreds of thousands of followers and say, this is something is wrong here.
Yeah.
You know, and I know, I mean, it would be definitive proof if I got banned. It would be objective definitive proof from me, would be what I needed to know that you can be falsely banned without having done anything wrong.
Yeah.
And then if I were to go through the appeal process and nothing were to happen, the only thing I would have is my name and my reputation in the community, which 99.9% of the community doesn't have.
Yeah.
So I just feel like it's such a shitty.
It is.
Such a shitty, like, but you also can't expect them to be 100% transparent because that's not how anti-cheats work.
100%.
I'm not going to say we found this file on your computer or this and this and this. So like it really is a really hard thing.
It's just so like you're absolutely right. It is actually my core and most feared thing. The exact same thing as you. Like when I watch like those true crime documentaries, and when you're in that point where you don't know if the guy did it, like I get uncomfortable at thinking that like I could be right and nobody would believe me. Like, you know what I mean? And
someone planted evidence on your computer or something like that. Yeah.
And a microcosm of that is, dude, if you get false banned on a game that you really love and you're just, Joe Schmo doing your thing and nobody will believe you and you're not getting anything back and you don't know if you should buy another copy of the game and it sours the taste in your mouth. I don't know if I want to support the devs. I totally get that. But the reason I won't even let myself go down that path is because we just don't have anything other than anecdotal evidence. And you're right that that's not even a bad thing. BSG isn't going to come out and say this is exactly how many cheaters we banned today, and we banned them because we found this file on their computer and 60% of them were using radar. That just informs the cheat developers on how to cheat better. You know what I mean? I get that they don't want to be transparent, but at the end, I almost said at the end of the day, but realistically, if they ban 100,000 cheaters and 2 people get caught in the crossfire, that really sucks. But is that a better world than 100,000 people cheating in the game? You know what I mean? I don't know. You know what I mean? It's just like we only have
Here's
such
the thing.
anecdotal evidence from Twitter and Reddit on, I don't know if you were cheating. I don't know if you actually got banned or if you're doing this for attention. I don't know if you actually went through the appeal process. I don't know if you went through the appeal process last night and you're impatient. I have so many questions, but I know that BattleEye bans cheaters all the time. So how far down the rabbit hole do I go? Like,
but, I mean, here's the key though. The key is that I think what we do know is that they don't tell you why.
Yes.
Which
I'm definitely think the process could get better. I'm not advocating that it stays the same. Yeah.
Like, I think there's something that needs to change around that, because essentially they're saying you paid for something. I'm rescinding it from you.
Yeah.
I don't have to tell you why.
Yeah.
And you have like, I mean, you don't really have an appeals process because you can't defend yourself. Imagine you go to court and you don't know what the charges are, but you have to prove your innocence.
For sure.
But the default is that you're guilty and you have to prove your innocence, but you don't know what the charges are.
Yeah.
You know, so if someone says this file is on your computer, at least, so if I got banned and someone said it's because Cheat Engine is installed on your computer, I could at least go, okay, let me look at my computer and see if I could find Cheat Engine. Because if Cheat Engine is there, the only explanation I would have is it either got installed with like some Minecraft mod shit that I installed 2 years ago, or it was planted there by, you know, and that would be the perfect fucking crime. And I'm setting myself up for this at some point. I'm sure someone's going to do it. But to like hack into my computer and install cheats on my computer without me knowing, so that all of a sudden one day I get banned and then it's like, I've got cheats on my computer, I didn't know it was there, who's gonna fucking believe me?
Yeah.
I'll just have to live with that if it happens and figure out how the fuck to deal with it. But like, it's just the worst case scenario where
I'm not disagreeing that that's the worst case scenario. Help me, Veritas. What's the alternative? Because chat tells me
why I was banned.
the alternative. No. But I'm saying, like, because the narrative that, like, you know, the internet says is like BattleEye sucks, we should get rid of it. And it's like,
well, yeah, you know
what I mean? It's like, what?
So ignore that. So at least tell me why I'm banned, so that me, an engineer, whether it's me or whether it's normal Timmy with one follower on Twitch, that is a much smarter game developer or engineer, can get the reason and then see, oh, well, I have this installed because I'm a developer and I do whatever, and it's not used for cheats. And because then you would want them to know that that is not indicative of cheats. Yeah. I mean, maybe it is. I'm making this thing up that I have some development package for like Oculus Rift or something, and then that's like that process was flagged. I don't know, but the fact is that they say we don't have to tell you, but there's essentially no appeal, quote unquote. I don't know. God, this is so complicated. I don't know.
I agree. It's just, I just can't say if there is one. I believe you should absolutely be given a reason why you got banned. Do they not give one? I don't know. I do
know that,
you know
because
what I mean?
All of the people, at least Tweak and HyperRat and all those guys, the email doesn't say why they were banned.
Okay,
when they get unbanned, we're like, sorry, our bad, with no way of being like, well, wait a minute. If I hadn't gotten 20,000 fucking retweets, would you guys have even looked into this and known that it was a bug?
And
that's the problem.
That is the problem. But I just like people ask me, and I'm just like, dude, I do not have the information to give you to like pick a stance on this. Like, you know what I mean? Like like if you're dealing with something like cheating and stuff like that, your appeals process should be really good, right? Like you should give absolutely, like it's BattleEye's responsibility to have a really smooth process for the people that get falsely banned to get that fixed. I totally agree that they should absolutely give a reason for it. I don't know what the conversation is. Like a bunch of people got banned and they got unbanned, and I believe that, and I don't even know what to believe on what the efficiency of BattleEye is. It does 1 in every 33 people get falsely banned? Because Jesus Christ, we should change BattleEye But if 1 in a billion people get falsely banned, then but how does it not matter? Wouldn't every, like, once again, I actually don't know what we're talking about. Like, what is the goal of this conversation? Like, is the sentiment that BattlEye needs to do something different, that we need a different anti-cheat, that Battle State games should do something different? Because I feel like I'm painting myself as a guy that wants people to get falsely banned, and I just don't know what we're talking about. Like, of course, if you get falsely banned, you should have a way out of it. Like,
before Tweak and Anton got banned, they were the first ones that were quote unquote falsely banned.
Yeah.
Before that, anytime anybody said I was falsely banned, I'd say, yeah, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Because there was no precedent. Now we have at least 3 separate occasions where, again, Battle State has to admit they were falsly
where
banned.
They
Otherwise, they have to
or directly admitted that there was a problem. Yes, I told them, tracking with you. There's precedent.
They
I would have
just to admit, because
assumed that would happen, though.
So the problem is that now we know that you can get falsely banned.
Correct.
We don't know anything about the appeals process.
Correct.
Now I kind of want to just, like, I want to get falsely banned as a nobody so that I can go through this process and do like a fucking documentary. How the hell can I get falsely banned? Oh God, I don't know.
Buy another computer, create another account.
It's the only way to. I mean, I do have another computer and I have lots of accounts.
Go to some unsavory websites and get yourself banned. No, the problem is that BattlEye was perfect. I just never assumed it was. I always assumed there'd be collateral damage. I'm not trying to be insensitive to the people that got falsely banned.
No, but the question is what's collateral damage? Give me an example. Is it they random glitch, flagged the wrong ID, or is it that they found a process that they thought was linked with a cheat that wasn't linked with a cheat? It was linked with some other software. Because if that's the case, then being transparent to some degree, like there's got to be a wiggle room where you can be transparent to where you're not. And I don't know, maybe this is impossible, but like, it seems to me like there's got to be a way for them to tell you how they know you were cheating without necessarily you telling them how you figured it out. But also, like, if I'm going to pay money for something and you're going to take it away from me then there should be information and due process regardless. Again, and maybe there is, but what I'm saying is that there has to be. And if it's, and I'm guessing that we're probably like 30% of the way there, but they need to be transparent and there needs to be an appeals process. Otherwise, you either better be perfect or you have to have a way to be able to, for an innocent person to not get completely fucked. And I guess where I am now is I don't have enough information to be convinced that there aren't a ton of people who are just like, poor me, I can't play the fucking game and I did nothing wrong. And I don't know if that number is 3, if the number is 0, or if the number is 10,000. I have no idea. So
I guess that's my point too. Is that I don't
dystopian.
Either. You know what I mean? Like I don't know what that number is either. I don't like once again, hard stop. If you got falsely banned, I 100% believe that there should be a path to getting that reserved. I 100% believe that if you're John BattlEye and you want to start an anti-cheat company, you should be held to an incredibly high standard. I believe that I believe that there should be absolutely some amount of transparency of when you get banned. Like exactly. Like I don't think if I paid money for something, I don't think that they necessarily have the right to take it away with no explanation whatsoever. I believe that their appeals process should be A1 S tier, but I just don't know when we flipped the switch to Doomsday, because just like we don't have, just be like, in the same way we don't have enough information to say that it's doomsday, like that we're not in a doomsday scenario, we don't have enough information to say we are in a doomsday scenario.
What's the doomsday scenario again?
That there are people everywhere getting banned with no path.
I don't care if there's people everywhere. If it happens to one person, it's unacceptable. Or
yes.
if you're in a place where you can't, where if you contact BattlEye and you say, I wasn't cheating, what do I do? And they say, well, we think you were.
Correct.
And you just had $150 stolen from you even if you buy another account, like you have to buy another PC and buy another account. That's when it's not okay.
Who's advocating for that?
What do you mean?
Well, yeah, I don't know. I guess I just like I don't know what we're talking about. I agree. If it happens to one person, it's unacceptable. We just don't know. We don't have the information. You know what I mean?
There's I mean, we'll have to do some research, but I don't. That number can't be 0,
but if it can't be 0 now, it couldn't have been 0 a year ago either. You know what I mean? Like
but we also didn't have any reason at any like. We at least had I don't know how to put this, but like there was. The only way that any of us could ever know is if we know in our heart of hearts that we weren't cheating and we got banned.
Yeah.
That would, honestly, if that happened to me, it would be my fucking life's mission to fix the system.
Yeah.
Because I would then know it's a problem and I would know, so what I'm saying is that like, if it is a problem and if there's a chance, we need to do everything we can to prevent that. And by we, I mean BattlEye, Battle State, the community.
Yeah. And I'm
if,
all in on that.
If you
100%.
just reached out to them and they made a mistake, but it wasn't a clear glitch. It wasn't like they ran a script wrong. It was like some bug where a process got flagged that shouldn't be flagged.
Yeah.
They're not going to tell you. And if they look and they say, yeah, we think that you were cheating, and I don't know. I guess I need to like go through and talk to some folks.
I couldn't agree with you more that if there's a trip in the system, it should absolutely be fixed. But yeah, and I get what you're saying. Like every time I've heard about it, it has gone back. You know what I mean? The whole Anton Tweak thing, like that, those guys got unbanned. All the people from the HyperRat thing, they got unbanned. Yeah, I give me a mission and I'll do it. I completely agree with you. I completely agree that there needs to be transparency. I completely agree that if there's any sort of problem or damage to people that aren't cheating, that they should have a way out. I completely agree. I've always felt that way. I feel that way now. I have no information.
Did you finish watching Making a Murderer?
I did.
Okay, so flip it on the other side and like, because you thought he was guilty, right?
No, I thought he was innocent.
Okay, I honestly forget where it was, but like, so that's a case where you see one instance of it that then convinces you like, oh, I don't think people going to jail for murder is like, it's happening all the time, but it happening to one person is like enough of an injustice.
Yeah.
That the only reason why I want to say that is because like you have to think about what you would feel if it happened to you.
Yeah.
And put yourself in that position. And, if it's like, well, you get to go to court, you get to defend yourself, you get to whatever, you get to this and this and this. And it's like, okay, well then at least there's some sort of like safety net.
Yeah.
I just don't think, and again, a lot of this is based on hearsay, but I don't think, and I'm not like super confident that those steps exist because it's just too easy for those companies to, if they're, I don't know.
I really don't know either. And if it's bad, we should totally, but that's,
if you've been banned, reach out to us, reach out to me on Discord or Jesse, or both of us, whatever. I want to know if you've been banned and you weren't cheating and you got your ban up, like you went through an appeals process and you got your ban overturned. I want to know what kind of information they gave you, if anything. Did you just say, did you hit a button and then 3 days later you were unbanned and it was like, well, then what the fuck?
Yeah.
Then again, that would make me feel not confident at all, because then if it's like, if you just don't hit the button, then you're guilty forever. So I want someone to reach out to me in the community if that's a thing and let me know.
Yeah, that's a good
Only
call.
if you have a lot of information. Only if you have emails and screenshots and conversations, and don't just be like, yeah, I got banned and I got unbanned. Because you're not going to help. It's just going to be more hearsay.
And only if you got unbanned. Like, because I want to know what that process is like. I'm not saying that there aren't people out there in the limbo that are frustrated right now, but yeah, like that's what we want to know, what that appeals process is like. Because once again, it's like, it's just, what I want people to understand is that it's hard for us to work with hearsay. You know what I mean? Because it's really hard to like, it's really hard to like figure out where it is on the spectrum from like conspiracy theory all the way to somebody who really is in a bad situation. You know what I mean? Like, cause like last night, once again, I pulled up your stream and you were talking about that, and the guy was saying some crazy stuff, dude. Your responses were so good. You were like, do you have a source for that? Is he like a friend in your Discord? Or like, you were just like not letting it bother you. And it was so funny, but he was saying some crazy stuff about like, how do you know? He said something stupid about BattleEye being like, they have a temporary subscription to BattleEye, and only when it gets bad they re-up it. And he was like, how do you know that? And he was like, oh, the BattleEye gold standard terms of service told me. And I was just like, and that's when I was like, see, what do you mean? So when somebody just comes in and they're like, dude, I got banned and it sucks. I don't know where you land on the spectrum of like freaking Illuminati BattleEye sucks to like a dude in a really bad situation. You know what I mean? So that's why I can give you nothing unless I know about their appeals process, about, stuff like that, which it's not my responsibility to know either. You know what I mean? Like I don't know how to get that information. So it's weird. I don't know.
I wish. Oh God, I wanted for the longest time to talk with somebody from BattleEye. Just knowing, like, the more we knew, the more community knew. It's the same thing about like the CIA and the FBI and the NSA. Like, if we should know, you should be transparent about like the systems, But at the same time, that just helps the people.
Yeah.
It's like, but I trust the FBI more than I trust BattleEye and Battlestate, and the FBI does some shady, fucked up shit, So it's like, it just doesn't affect kids, who paid $150 for a game that they really enjoy. I can just imagine how sad I'd be if I mean, I've got a million accounts. It doesn't fucking matter, and I've got a platform, But I'm just picturing how sad I would be if I got fucking banned from a game wrongfully.
Yeah, that would suck. That would super duper suck.
Ugh. Anyway, so here's where I come out and say I've been cheating this whole time.
And this whole time
it's been an elaborate sort of ploy to say how I have cheats running, but I'm still play as bad as I possibly can, so that I never have money, my stats are all bad.
I like it.
So it's like how long can I cheat and be bad and not have people know that I cheat and be bad? And apparently forever.
Yep. This is the new YouTube videos coming out, right? Like a guide to cheating and not getting banned. Mm-hmm. I've been doing it for 4 years. New vids coming up. Yeah, Veritas, an apology.
Start off with a hey guys.
Dude, the thumbnail is literally just you-centered, depressed face. Yes. No text, no nothing, maybe sorry, comma. You know what I mean? And then it's Veritas, an apology.
Guys,
oh my God.
Before I get into this, I need to say Raid Shadow Legend.
Oh my God. Bro. Scrabble facts.
Mentos, the fresh roll shit.
That's all we got, so we don't get DMCA. Fresh.
Oh, fucking A. Okay, sorry. That was went on for way too long.
It did go on for a while. We're definitely both on the same page. I just if I can contribute, I want to contribute. I just don't know. I don't know how to help.
Yeah. I know. Well, we need more information is what we need. But I referenced the Cassandra complex. So it's a psychological phenomenon in which an individual's accurate prediction of a crisis is ignored or dismissed. It can also refer to an electronic music band, which seems like a fucking dope ass name for a band, if I'm being honest. Yeah.
Use code LeatherDaddy.
Use code LeatherDaddy.
You have got to change.
ExtremeRestraints.com/LeatherDaddy.
You have got to change your Juju code to LeatherDaddy.
Yeah, I'm sure that'll help sales.
I'm sure that'll help sales, boost some sales. Adam and Eve. All right. Anyways, I would love to talk about this history of Tarkov stuff. You showed the trailer, and I don't want to make this like, I don't want to make it suck for the people that weren't here early and saw the trailer. You know, I don't want to be like, oh, you remember that moment? And then it's like, nobody saw the thing. But holy cow, did that give me feels watching that. Dude. Okay.
Dude, and
here's where I want to dive in.
What I showed you, though, let me just to give context to everybody. What I showed was 2 slices of a video that right now is 40 minutes long. And it covers, there's a timeline of the history of Tarkov. It goes all the way back where I start telling the story is 2010. Up through before like Battle State games, around some of the precursor games and Russia 2028 and all that stuff, all the way to 2015, 16-ish. I'd have to pull up the timeline. 2016, 2017. Okay, so what you saw is a 40-minute video that covers 2010 all the way to 2017, although there's nothing in 2011, 13, 14. It was literally like 3 bullet points for those first like 7 years. And that covers from the beginning to 0.2 of Tarkov. Yeah. And then it's like the timeline just blasts out into this tree of here's a patch, a million things, wipe. Patch, a million things, wipe. Patch. So yeah, what you saw was a slice of up to 0.2 of Escape from Tarkov. So it's probably going to be 2, potentially 3 videos, I'm guessing probably 45 minutes long, of the entire history of Tarkov up until the day I finish the video, which will be the right now.
Yeah. So, and you showed a lot of gameplay from that like 0.2 era, you know what I mean? Of just the stress in everybody, you know what I mean, of running around, and just like the Dan Giesling clips of him just like running around factory, just having no idea what was going on.
Slow walking everywhere, because that's all we did.
Yeah, slow walking everywhere.
Slow walk everywhere with a Gratch pistol.
Yeah, and here, so this is super interesting, and I know we both like agree on this because we talk about it all the time. But like, here's where I want to dive in. So seeing that. And then you showed like a raid from today, the current. You showed like your raid, shift Wing through factory, wiping a 5-man, and
you got 5 kills in 42 seconds. Yeah, and I extracted.
And contrasting that to that old gameplay. And here's the deal, though, is that like, if you had seen that, okay, so the I got so much stuff. Part of the point you're trying to make, right, is that a lot of people that play the game now miss that have been playing the game from that entire time, right? Like a lot of people miss that fear, that intensity, the slower thing. Not everybody, you know what I mean? But a lot of people that have been playing the game that long miss that. In the same token,
Tarkov was a survival horror game to some people, and it's not anymore.
And in some ways, I feel like if you flip that script, and if you showed in 2017 some of the footage of like that factory raid, because that factory raid wasn't like a toxic raid. You weren't like, AD spamming between doors and then like, like pre-firing. You were just slaying out. You know what I mean? You heard somebody behind you, you flip around, boom, pre-fire, but like you just played it well. If you had showed me that raid, back then, I would have been like, yes, this.
What if I showed you the other 5 peoples?
This is so
they spawn
sick.
In, they go,
well, of course,
raid's over after waiting 10 minutes.
Well, what I'm saying is that like, it's somewhere in the middle. It's not even somewhere in the middle. It's just that I feel like it's just that I want both to happen right? Like, you know what I mean?
They both have their merits.
Yes,
and there
they
needs to be
both
somewhere
have
in
their
between.
merits. Exactly. There is nothing wrong with that fight in Factory that you did if it was 15, 30, or 45 minutes into a raid, right? And you didn't know they were going to be there. Like, there's nothing wrong with that raid. You wiped those dudes. You were hitting headshots. You were doing really good. Boom. So it's not that there's anything fundamentally wrong with that playstyle with that raid. It's just, this is what I was thinking when I was watching the footage, is that like I feel as though the reason we can't go back to that is predictability. It's
Whatever happened to predictability? The milkman, the paper boy. Sorry, is that Full House?
Yeah, I don't know. But does that make sense? It's like,
Yeah.
the reason why everybody was so scared is because nobody knew what was going on. Nobody knew what was happening. And part of that isn't that exactly the essence that like Nikita wants to capture again, you know what I mean, and wants to put into the game. But it's the predictability of like now, like even if the game still looked like point two, if you've played 3,000 factory raids and you just know where they're going to spawn, you know what I mean? Like where we are now was a natural evolution. It was going to happen whether the flea market came to the game or not. It was going to happen whether the HK came to the game or not, right? The predictability of knowing where your enemy is going to be, like almost at all times. Like I'm actually considering making a video. I played multiple times with Sheaf. Have you heard of Sheaf? He is in the echelon of like the hyper rat, like every wipe he grinds to 1 billion rubles and then gives it away and does like a big charity event. I played with Sheaf and I thought about making a video called like what I learned playing with like Giga Chad. And what I learned playing with a Giga Chad is that like Sheaf knows where you are all the time without cheating. He's played this map so much, and the loot and the environment that Escape from Tarkov has is so predictable. He just knows where you are. He knows where you're going to be. He comes in, he hits Techo, and he's like, 2 guys are going to be coming around here. Or 8, somebody, whether it's 1 person or a 5-man, and they do, and they come, and then we kill them. And then we run up to Tech Light, and he's like, by now, these guys will be here. And we run downstairs, and they are, and we kill them. You know what I mean? And so it feels like a lot of times people come to poop on, you know, the flea market or all these things. And I know that we're working towards those things, but I was just thinking that a lot while I was watching the contrast of those footages, where I was like, I feel like it really comes down to, at that point, the most experience anybody could have in Escape from Tarkov was like 10 hours. So
you don't know where anyone is, and you don't know where you are.
Exactly.
So, yeah,
exactly.
So I mean,
so naturally, if the spawn stays static, yes, no, 100%, right? Like, but that, like, I'm sorry, I'm rambling here, but that's what I'm getting at, is that like something like open world or longer raids or the maps coming together almost instantaneously pulls us back to that place, because we're back to anybody could be anywhere. You know what I mean? And that makes me careful. But if I know that you're going to be here because you want this thing and I want it too, I don't have to be careful. I just have to be better. Yeah. Right? So I was thinking about that a lot while I was watching that, where it's like, I know we're working towards a better future, but it just feels like it's the predictability. You know what I mean?
I totally agree.
Yeah, I don't know.
Totally agree. Yeah, and I think a lot of what I'm in the voiceover that I'm adding afterwards, that I started to write after I show the like Deadly Slob, Dan Giesling montage of all the 0.2 footage, is just, it's reminding people, because I think a lot of people experience this. A lot of people have never experienced it because God, there's no way for me to say this without being like, we live in a day and age where the kids are... But like,
back in my day,
so many people who play Tarkov now have watched and consumed hundreds of hours of content before they even put their fucking little finger on W key. So that gives you so much more context around, everybody's like laughing because Dan he could not he spent like 10 minutes trying to loot a pair of sunglasses and a scav mask because he didn't know to rotate How would you know? How would you know to hit R to rotate? You wouldn't.
And he didn't know his shotgun wouldn't fit in his backpack. Why would he know that the shotgun wouldn't fit in the backpack?
All you see it in a gun slot.
Yep.
But that's one square. You don't know how many rectangles it takes up. Yep. So why can't you? So there's just like a million things that we take for granted, that we all had to like struggle through. And I mean, I don't know. I should go and watch someone in 2021, like my first raids, and see if it's.
Oh yeah.
Because if they're not spawning in with one Makarov, one magazine, no extra bullets, no meds,
accidentally at nighttime.
They take their gamma and they put it in their stash.
Yeah.
And then it's nighttime. If you don't do that, you never experienced Tarkov.
Yeah.
Because that is you don't know fucking anything. And not that I think that that's the way the game should be, because I don't. I think that that's indicative of like a lot of the shortcomings of like the user experience and everything. Which reminds me, I was just started to put in fucking the details on my timeline for 0.8, and there's basic tutorial was added in the patch notes. What the fuck is basic tutorial?
Where is it?
What is that? I don't fucking know. I
don't remember clicking basic tutorial.
And maybe it's like I bypassed it on my account or something.
No.
I vaguely recall there being like a thing that you could hit like next, and it was like, don't show me this again. Maybe that doesn't get reset or something. I don't know. I vaguely recall something like that where it was just like a basic bunch of pages where it's like go into raids, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I have to. Yeah, I'm gonna have to grab one of my like alt accounts from a billion years ago and log into it and see if it takes me to a tutorial, because I think there is one.
I really don't think there is.
It's not like any other game tutorial where you're playing through things. It's just like 5 pages of a screen you hit next that like tells you something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
Anyways, it's what were we even talking about? I don't know.
I wanted to get across like
yeah.
We all lived through that period. Not to say that that's how the game should be. Not to say that that's what made the game great, but I guess it's more to say, hey, all you new guys, this is why all the graybeards are all nostalgic and grumpy, because this is what we lived through. It's almost like, now whenever I see a fucking old man with a Vietnam hat or a World War II veteran hat, I'm instantly like, you know what? I don't care how fucking grumpy you are.
Yeah.
Respect.
Yeah.
Like, once I saw Band of Brothers, Saving Private Ryan, even though those are fiction, you know, it still is like, oh, now at least I know where you're coming from. I might disagree with you.
Yeah.
You might be a racist old douchebag. It doesn't matter. At least I now know a little bit more about you, so that the conversations we have are more meaningful.
Exactly. And the common ground of understanding that like you came from a completely different world. Whether your world was better, my world is better, or there's a better world coming, that's a fundamental thing. And I think that's exactly what you're saying. It's like nobody's saying that, 0.2 Tarkov was like breakthrough UI and UX and we should all go back to that. It's not saying it was better. It's just the acknowledgement of like, when people...
Just don't tell me that we don't know what it's like to be a casual because you have to wait till level 20 to get flea market.
Exactly.
You fuck yourself.
Exactly.
Like, fuck yourself.
I ran around for 45 minutes in a night shoreline trying to find the exit. You know what I mean? And you can't wait till level 20. You watch 62 tutorials before you... Exactly. So once again, it's not that one is better or worse. It's just exactly. It's that you have to understand that we played a completely different video game back then. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I'm excited to go through. I think I might be done with the first thing maybe by this weekend. But I every time I play a preview, someone's always amazed at like, in 0.6, that was when you had the ability to hit like 00 to see your extracts, and like the 10-minute timer popped up in red. Like that was 0.6 when like you'd have a 10-minute countdown. Like before that, it would just count down silently, and you wouldn't fucking know it.
The screen would go black.
point 8 was magazine reloading. People like don't know that there was a day before magazine reloading. And there's a lot of things that are easier and better and quality of life changes. Point 4 was when they added blind fire. It's where they made it so that you can bind voice commands. Before that, you couldn't bind voice commands. You had to double tap Y and open up the menu to do everything. What are some other examples? When all the major features came in, when all the wipes happened, when all the maps were added, when Shoreline first came out,
the resort wasn't even in it.
The resort was in it, but it was fenced off.
Oh yeah.
So it was literally just like the little shanty town.
Yeah.
And like the road. That was Shoreline. And people are like, oh, we need more content. We played the game for fucking years where there was 3 half maps.
Yeah.
The quests were my favorite was when I show where the fuck was it? Punisher part. Yeah. Point 4. So 0.4 was when Night Factory got added to the game. The Pilgrim, the Coal Pack, and the 3M, brand new.
Hell
and
yeah.
Punisher Part 6. Do you remember what Punisher Part 6 was? This was right when I started playing, was point 4.
Oh, I don't know, because it's currently SVD kills, but SVDs are fairly new to the game, so I don't know what it was.
Punisher Part 6 was in 2 hours of
I do
real world time. I'm going to start a stopwatch. When you accept this quest,
I do remember this.
You have to kill 18 bears.
18
bears. So even though you're an NA and 10% of the fucking population were bears, you had to kill 18 of them in 2 hours.
And when you say 10% of the population was like 1,200 players. So 10% of them were the 12 bears in the United States of America.
And the 2 hours was not 2 hours of raid time.
No.
It was not even 2 hours of open game time. It was if you accept the quest at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you could turn off your computer and come back in 121 minutes and the quest has been failed, even if the game wasn't running.
Yep.
So you're waiting in the queue, the timer's ticking down. You're sitting there waiting in a spinner after the screen, the timer's ticking down.
I remember that, dude. I never
did that quest. There were no dog
quest.
tags, by the way. There were no dog tags and there was no kill feed in the game at that point. Dude. This is the kind of perspective that I want people to know so that not that they don't complain about things, because there's lots of things that they need to complain about. So that you understand me when you complain about some dumb shit that when I'm rolling my eyes, all I'm thinking about is I had to walk uphill both ways barefoot in the snow to get to school every day. So stop complaining that, you have to charge your fucking Tesla once a week to and from school.
Oh man. Wow. It's come a long way.
It's really interesting looking at the last minute thing. I pulled up the timeline and I marked where all the wipes have happened. And it's like really interesting. So when did you start playing?
I started playing in August of 2018. So it was 0.8.9.
Okay.
I definitely remember 0.10 happening. I can't remember if I was playing in 0.8.
Okay, so how many wipes do you think you played?
I was going to ask you this. I was going to ask you the other side.
It's so fascinating to me to look at this and be like, wow, huh.
I don't know. I would say since I started playing, the game has gone through like 6 wipes, 6 or 7.
Okay, the correct answer is 6 or 7, depending on if you started, because there was a wipe in mid 2018.
Okay.
So it depends on if you started before. Like I don't know if this is August or not. But yeah. So the first wipe was in 0.4.
Oh really?
And it was in like November, and then 0.5 was in December, and there was a wipe. So it was a month. But I'm sure that was probably one of those cases where it was like we made a lot of changes, game breaking, which is probably where the whole like we need to wipe as a part of the development process went.
Yeah.
And then it was like a third of a year later, wipe. A third of a year later, wipe. A third of a year later, wipe. So it was 3 wipes in 2018, 2 in 2019, just barely 2 in 2020 because one was right in December.
Yeah.
And then 1 so far in 2021, although it's like there's a fucking perfect gap where it's like, you know, January and November or February and December but now it looks like we're on pace to maybe have it be middle of 2021, beginning of 2022.
Yeah.
And or nothing after, you know what I mean? Who knows?
This feels like the first calendar year will it'll be a proper only 1 wipe.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, imagine complaining about everything getting wiped when it used to be every 3 to 4 months. It was 1 month, then it was every 2 months, then it was every 3 months, and then it went up to 6. Yeah, so I've experienced 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 wipes. I've experienced actually all the wipes. Actually, I think I joined after the first wipe.
Yeah.
And you know what? I actually remember. Because I played a little bit. When I first started, this was like in like close to the end of 2017. I played and I've already told I had that like Nightmare Woods nighttime run, and I didn't pick up the game again until like February. That was literally like after the wipe. So the thing is that I probably lost like 3 Makarovs and like nothing else, maybe like a backpack or 2. So when I went to play again, it was like, welcome to Escape from Tarkov. And I think I must have been like, oh, maybe I made a new account by accident or something. I don't even think I knew about wipes at the time. I just was starting over from level 1. I probably didn't even realize it.
That's crazy. That's wild.
So yeah.
Yeah, it's cool stuff. It definitely like it was really interesting just watching the history thing. I'm super excited for the video. I think it's going to be cool. I'm excited that it's going to be multiple parts. It definitely got me thinking a lot about like just watching the preview that you showed before stream. It definitely got me thinking a lot about how like a lot of times we look through the past through the like the rose-colored glasses, and the reality is like what I want is in between. Like I think watching the preview before we started the podcast and while you're eating, I think that was the first time I ever made that connection. That like I want to be able to pick the right time to push, to swing, to annihilate a 4-man as a solo, to be aggressive, to have good gear. And I also want to not have realized what time it was and the sun is setting and I don't have MVGs and I'm terrified. And I don't know. And I don't know where people are going to be because I know their spawns. I've been in this raid for an hour and a half, and I could come across a 4-man, I could come across scavs, or I could come across no one. And I think it was the first time where I'm like, damn, I want them both. And I think that that's what Nikita wants, and I think that a lot of the stuff we said, which it's really easy to generalize and say, but things like open world, things like longer raid times, things like VoIP could really bring us there. But that I was like, wow, like I want them both. I want what's directly in the middle of this. You know what I mean?
And I mean, like, the some of those crazy moments that you had back in the day came from complete and utter ignorance, which makes it like you saw Dan freaking out because he saw a player. He's sitting there apologizing to the scav, like, I'm taking your he doesn't even know it was an AI. He doesn't know that it wouldn't have shot at him. Because we didn't know the rules. I thought everybody was a fucking person. Didn't know that as a scav, other scavs didn't attack. You know what I mean? Like I just didn't know any of that stuff. And I haven't had that experience until Tagilla and the cultists.
Yeah.
And that largely was because I kept myself ignorant.
Yes.
So
of those
which
things.
is why I really want Nikita. I hope that they're good things, but I really would love him to lean into just put shit in the game. There doesn't have to be patch notes for everything.
Yeah.
But when it comes to changes that you want testing and feedback, we should have patch notes and we should know about it. But certain things
content
just
can go hidden because that can be like a fun surprise. changes that we need to know if it's a bug or not, i.e. blacked out heads and insurance, you know what I mean? Like those things
if I'm
should
in
have
customs and I
patch
see
notes.
an AC-130 fly overhead on fire,
Dude.
I'm like,
Oh
what
my
the
God.
fuck? And then you see it go down in the woods, and then you go over and that plane wreck has like a bunch of crates there, and there's some scabs that spawn like raiders.
Holy cow.
Like, you're only going to ever experience that once.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the more they can do shit like that, the
Black
more
Division, I hope they don't say anything about that. Oh, that would be
and I really
so
hope
sick.
that the fucking data miners keep their mouths shut too when they undoubtedly uncover.
Yeah, they won't. But yeah, it's yeah, for sure. For sure. Man, I feel like we're both constantly caught between like this like relentless optimism and excitement for the game, but then also just like unreasonable amounts of cynicism and frustration at the same
I mean, it's a microcosm of
time.
life.
Yeah.
It's like, oh wow, we're curing cancer and we have vaccines for all these things, and people are still, there's still anti-vaxxers, and people are still fucking
flat earthers and
setting people on fire over religion and flat earthers, and it's just like real life.
yeah, I mean it really is.
There's
dude.
so much to be amazed about, and there's so much to fucking, and the only answer to all of it is rationalism, skepticism, and reason.
Logic and reason.
That's it.
So, okay, so that we should probably close it down because it's almost 2 hours. But have you watched any JesseKazam videos?
I have, and I will say that I made the mistake, I think, of watching videos on topics I already knew stuff about.
Oh.
Because I was like, oh, I want to see what they have to say about black holes, or I want to see what they have to say. And the thing is that I'm already like, they're perfect.
Yeah, if you don't know anything
If you
about
don't
it.
know anything, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Every video I saw was like fantastic videos, but it was, I know all this shit.
Yeah.
But I will say that like the things that they talk about are all the things that like, if I was to make a video, no other videos say this one or two things, but I would say these two things. I watched one on homeopathy, and it was like, great fucking, all of the little idiosyncrasies in there that I'm like, thank you, fucking great. But it was all like preaching to the choir.
Yes.
So I need I think I need to watch a bunch that aren't, because so far I haven't learned anything, but I think that's just largely like you click on, okay, cool, I want to see what you have to say about black holes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I should click on the things that I don't.
But I bring that up because it's been making me feel that way a lot, where like the more I learn about things like our capability for like space and travel and like where resources are, and I learn about
fallibility of the human brain.
Dude, yeah, it gets me, I feel that way. It gets me equally as excited as like depressed. It's like, oh my God, this is incredible. And then you're like, oh my God, why aren't we doing this stuff? It's because we're doing all this stuff, and all this stuff now seems so meaningless in comparison to this cool stuff I learned. Why aren't we? So I've been watching a lot of their videos. I've been learning a lot, and I've been feeling that exact way a lot recently, where I'm like, I've actually never been more excited and pissed in my life, because I just watched this amazing video about how we can create a sky hook to launch us to Mars in a quarter of the time. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm just like, oh, this is cool. So.
And then you read about like, oh, okay, you want to teach fucking like Genesis in my science class for 7th graders, and you're like, oh, okay, well, fuck me, I guess.
Yeah. So it's just been it's been so good. It's been so good because I know nothing about any of the things they make videos about. I know about.
Oh God, that I need to just make a YouTube channel. It's just Veritas Science, because I wrote
100%.
my for my undergraduate. I was in the honors program when I was a business and econ major. And in the honors program, you had to write a thesis, basically similar to like a master's thesis, but it could be on anything you wanted. And it had to be like 30 pages or something. Like it well, so I chose to do mine on, God, this is like the fucking origin story of Veritas. I actually kind of want to tell this really quickly. It's like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Started dating my wife. 3 months we had been dating, and she got me an iPod Touch, which at the time was like,
nice.
holy shit, you just dropped $300 on me as a college kid when we've been dating for 3 months. Like, damn, super generous, whatever. I remember on the way home, I searched for podcasts. I'd never listened to a podcast before, and I searched science, and the top one was Skeptic's Guide to the Universe. And that literally, that was the turning point. If I had not listened to that I would not be here. I would not be. Literally, that was probably the most pivotal moment in my entire life. Like, formative.
That's crazy, yeah.
That led into me being interested in science and logic and, physics and history and everything, and skepticism and all that stuff. But so I did my senior honors thesis on skepticism and the scientific method, and it ended up being 200 pages. The worst part is that I can't, I dox myself because I think it's out there, somewhere in a PDF or something. But I did so much research and have been invested in this stuff for over a decade, basically as long as I've been with my wife.
Yeah.
That I want to make a fucking Veritas science channel that is literally just like Veritasium or, Smarter Every Day, where it's like, I'm going to talk about black holes for fucking 20 minutes. And
I'd watch it.
Man, I kind of want to do that.
You've got plenty of free time, right? Like, you don't really do much.
True. Yeah, true.
You don't have like a mobile app or 2 YouTube channels or a Spotify or a Twitch channel or anything like that.
Yeah.
I would watch the hell out of the videos for sure. I've been loving it. I love learning, man. I love
learning and teaching. Like, you're like me, where as soon as you learn something, you get so excited that you put a video out.
Yeah, 100%.
Because you're like, I need to share this.
I'm so addicted to those videos right now. I hit render on a video, you know what I mean? And it's going to be rendering for 8 minutes. And I pull up a JesseKazam video and I watch it at 1.5 times speed. And I just absorb it. I just love it.
Right on.
It's good. So,
it's good.
It's good. Check it out. JesseKazam. Good luck spelling it.
KGKKGKKGSGK.
Yep. It's just like all the blah 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 dos. Yeah, 100%.
But I'm tired.
Yeah. Are you?
I ranted all my energy out, dude. I'm fried.
You gonna play some Tarkov? You want to get some raids? You want to fly solo?
Let's fucking raid.
All right, let's do it.
Do it.
Let's do it. Oh yeah, we didn't talk about this stupid reserve quest. We'll talk about it on
oh yeah, fuck.
We'll talk about it during the raids, but it's stupid. But anyways, thank you guys for hanging. Everybody that was here live. Thanks for hanging with us. This will be live on Spotify and all the platforms early next week. Yeah, more Tarkov content to come. Be on the lookout, maybe between now and next week's episode for episode 1 of the history of Tarkov.
100% it'll be done. Yeah.
Hell yeah. So be on the lookout for that. But thank you guys for hanging with us and supporting this. The amount of love we've been getting for the podcast recently has been insane. I don't know if you have. The amount of people coming in and just saying, bro, I watch this stuff. I listen to it on my way to work. It's good stuff. Like, you guys have no idea how life-giving that is to me, to know that you guys care about us, literal old man grumpy rambling about this game for 2 hours once a week. It's dope.
Dude, it makes me think this has the most. I feel like the Pogcast will outlive Veritas. It's
the most valuable thing we do is rant about the game for 2 hours a week. So just thank you guys a lot. So we appreciate it. We'll be back next week, same time. Thanks for being here, and we will see you on the next one.
Peace.